So I hope you guys can see me. This D coming back again, guys. I'm in the studio. I decided to make a video. As you guys know, I always say it, even as a young man, family and relationships are my passion. And, I oftentimes, in a very positive and good way, I would say, God, why do I have such a passion for this? I know that it is important because, especially in our generation where the family structure is under attack, I knew it was important, but it kind of came together in the past hour. Interestingly enough, I was researching the article. I think it's on the article is called "Singles Nation: Why So Many Americans Are Unmarried" by Christian Science Monitor.com, if I'm not mistaken. And I also was listening to a video on YouTube talking about the breakdown of the family structure as well. And it got me to thinking. And as a millennial myself, being in my early 20s, guys, it is very interesting. I'm about to read a little bit from this article and chime in a bit. And as a millennial myself, I believe that the family and talking about it, relationships, is very important. It's a very important topic, guys. And I love to dialogue with you guys. So drop comments, or if you guys want to talk or whatever, that'd be definitely cool. But anyway, it says. Meanwhile, only 30% of millennials say that having a successful marriage is one of the most important things in life, according to the Pew Research Center, down from even the 47% of Generational X who said the same thing in 1997. 4 in 10 Americans went even farther in telling the Pew researchers in 2010 that marriage was becoming obsolete. That's crazy. In my generation, they're starting not to even believe that a marriage is important. And from a biblical basis, from a godly basis, it's important. But as I was thinking, I kind of blame Christians a little bit, because Christians are going into divorce. Christians they're not showing love in their marriages. So is marriage important? And that's something even the church has to answer. Is marriage important to us? Anyway, I digress, and I'm gonna continue to read the story. And the story is interviewing a few people who are single, and it's kind of going through their life, or whatnot. Let's see. I seen one that was very interesting. I think it said in the 1960s, the women were married at age 20, and the men at age 22. But now it's 27 for the age is 27 for women and 29 for men. So of course we see the age for marriage is I guess in a sense people are marrying later on in life, and they're also having kids later on in life. And but it's hard for the those, I guess you would say, those in the academic world to really say what's going on, but they're calling it emerging adulthood, or less charitably delayed adolescent, because they say what's going on is those millennials, or those who are delaying marriage, they have more of a mindset of going out to dinner. They're able to work late hours. They're able to make close groups with friends that are sometimes dubbed urban tribes. So in other words, a lot of the singles, they're single before a reason that they're able to enjoy life, and whatnot. But they have said that this is the antidote to another point of cultural anxiety, the decline in community. They say a lot of college educated singles are moving into the downtown areas and the buildings, and they're spending money revitalizing those urban centers in Denver, Detroit, and Boston. They're joining kickball leagues and neighborhood associations and volunteer organizations. And one man said people who live alone or isolated, they spend an enormous amount of time in public. And he go on to say that singleness does not necessarily mean you're lonely, and this, that, and the other. It was another point that I find interesting too. I think what's considered singleness is interesting now, because you can be single does not necessarily mean not married. You're not married, but you're shacking up. You're not married, but you're having sex. You're not married, but you're having children and stand together. So I think that's the problem we have with that, is because let's say you say, okay, I'm not married. I've been with her for 5 years. We got 2 kids. But is the foundation and the structure right? We know that from a biblical standpoint, when it comes to marriage, that was supposed to be the foundation for producing children, from a mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint. That was the way you do it. That's the foundation. But with the emerging of singleness, it's kind of like you can do all the things that married folks doing without going into covenantship, which in part that's spiritual, because we see that let's call it what it is. The enemy, Satan, is breaking up that family structure, and it seems fun, but what you have is you have a lot of people who are like they're adults, but they're like adolescent. It's kind of like out they only want to do what pleases them. Kids can come later. And I read an interesting article also about, is marriage a capstone or cornerstone? Cornerstone means is marriage something you build upon, or is marriage something you do once you have built your career? And I thought that was interesting too. Um, but I think when you begin to look at what's going on, it's interesting to see what's going on. And I think in the African American community especially, because a lot of kids are born to unwed mothers. And I do believe that presents an amount of problems. If we want to say it or not, I believe that presents some problems. But anyway, I would like to know what you guys think about that. What do you think about marriage? What do you think about young people getting married? What do you think about waiting until you get older, but see, the thing I find with getting older and wait till you're older, man, a lot of people, they're so older, but they're washed up sexually, or they're washed up emotionally. They done been through damaging relationships. Man, they're about to bust, because they sometimes can bring that past into the new relationships. So it's just a different dynamic. But I want to get feedback on it, guys. This is a very passionate topic of mine, and I'm open to talk about it. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a blessed day, guys. Comment, talk about it, and signing out. D, be blessed.